The Indiana Pacers will not be getting DeAndre Ayton. Instead, he'll return to the Phoenix Suns. So the Suns have matched the Pacers' max deal. It's a 4-year deal, and due to the complexities of all of this, he basically gets Ayton. Gets about 1 year in which he can veto any trade. So if they decide to trade him to Sacramento, he can say no. He also cannot be traded until about 6 months. Basically, he can't be traded to around the trade deadline at all. He can't be traded to the Pacers for at least a year. So basically, he's not going to Indiana. The question is this a good deal for either side? Well, for the Pacers, they're probably disappointed. They might have thought that they could get him. And if you get Ayton, you get a guy who's no worse than maybe the sixth best center in the league, and who certainly has a lot of upside left. He has been a fairly efficient player, had a little bit of trouble staying on the court due to some, fairly minor injuries and a suspension in his second year. When he's on the court, if you watch him, you can see this guy's a really high quality NBA player, efficient on offense, uh, solid rebounder, good enough on defense, maybe not elite on defense, but good enough. And on offense, he has a hook shot. He has range really out to three. He doesn't do too much, from three, but he can hit a mid-range shot comfortably. And he's a very smooth athlete. So you're talking about a guy who can make an All-Star game. The Suns, bizarrely, did not give him a max contract. Maybe they thought another team would give him less than a max and they could match that and they could save a little bit of money. That's a good way to alienate a star player. I don't know if that was what was going on in their heads, but that's the rumor. And as we know, if it is a rumor on the internet, it must be true. With that being said, the Suns get him back. They can keep him there for a while. Now the question is, have they sufficiently alienated him that he will demand a trade around the trade deadline? And that's a possibility. At that point, they do have leverage. They can play hardball. They can really trade him anywhere other than Indiana, as long as he says yes. But is this really the reputation you want to build if you're the Suns? I've been struggling to think of how this was a winning play for them, and I just don't see it. They end up giving him a max contract, and they made him angry. For the Pacers, well, they lose the chance at getting him. That means instead of, maybe being a surprise playoff contender next year, at least for the play-in, they're probably going to be at the top of the lottery. But ultimately, what do they really lose? Not that much. They can sign a couple of guys temporarily for like 1-year deals to fill those spots, use up the cap, but they don't really get worse through this. They just don't get better. So for the Pacers, in all of this, I just give an incomplete grade. There's nothing really much to grade. For the Suns, this is an F. Okay, we'll say it's a D. Do a grade revision because they get him back. If they had lost him for nothing, that would be an F. Now, supposedly, there had been talk of a sign and trade deal, and it may be that Phoenix wasn't on board with whatever Indiana was offering, which is probably straight up like Miles Turner for Ayton. So maybe that's why that didn't happen. But you get him back. He's now angry at you. You have this reputational damage. Players just are going to be less interested in going there when they know that this is how star players are treated. So for the Suns, I think this is a D. I don't think Ayton is going to be there in the long run now. So probably you're going to look to move him either at the trade deadline this year or in the offseason next year. And for Ayton, he gets paid. He doesn't get the fifth year. It's a 4-year deal. You could have gotten a fifth year max contract, but at the same time, play those 4 years, then go get an even bigger contract. So for Ayton, it should be okay. He makes millions of dollars. Of course it's okay. That's my assessment of this ordeal. The end.